No, thank you. I really shouldn't. Ta-ta. Give it to the steward, darling. He'll take care of it. I can't talk with you at the moment. So run along now, back to your little cabin. But my dear, it's Daisy Cashmore. Surely you remember. Oh, you are naughty thing. Don't think I didn't know you'd snuck on at Cherbourg. Smethels told me all about it. The old boy's always dripping with news. Heard about Lord and Lady Lambeth. Ruined utterly. Scarcely enough left for appearances, I'm told. I always liked Georgia. Married Charles for his name and his fortune, sensible girl. But she's made her nest. Now she must live in it. Well, what do we think? Gorgeous, isn't it? Everyone's raving, gushing. The Titanic couldn't be more fabulous. And the sailing couldn't have been more convenient. Everyone's here. The Astors, the George Wideners, the Countess of Ross, such a wonderful girl. The Strausses, I saw them on D-deck tonight. The Ryersons, the Henry Harpers. I could just go on and on. And the ship's so very advanced. I was just saying to my dear friends, the Carters, they're bringing back a motor car, do you believe, in the cargo hold. Bill Carter checks it daily. Really, every day. He keeps the keys with the purser. And of course they let them. The Carters are fantastically rich. Lucille doesn't understand the attraction at all. With men and machines, I tell her, we girls play second fiddle. There you are, skulking as usual. My dear, I've a little favor, a tiny one. Tonight at dinner, a man I don't know was making eyes at me. Be an absolute darling and find out who he is. Look him up in the passenger list. All I know are his initials, GQC. The list's someplace. Find it. I'll wait right here. Ta! Off on some lark, no doubt. You do keep secrets, they say, to the grave. Did you get it? Get his name? You're such a tease. You don't have one at all. Try the purser's office. He'll have one. No, you haven't found a passenger list. Clifford. Never heard of him. You don't suppose he's rich, do you? You're an angel. And I've news for you, too. While you were gone, Andrew Conkling's been asking for you. Yes, Conkling, the steel baron. God knows what he's been doing in Europe, buying it probably. And where was I? Oh, yes, Andrew Conkling asked me to pass along this. You know his wife Beatrix, the designer. Such an eye! Her clothes preserve the bust line. Couldn't be more flattering. Keeps the eye moving. Much nicer than Worth's. They're friends with Captain Smith. Smith! So handsome, so dashing. White Star's best officer, or was. He's retiring after this voyage. Couldn't be more tragic. My dear, you've blanched. Bad news? Certainly, I must... It's Mrs. Burbank! Consuelo! Over here! Toulou! Goodbye. Haven't seen you in days, weeks, ages. Have I got news? Try the purser's office. He should have one. Yoo-hoo! I must confide with someone. It's Mrs. Casebeer. Who does she think she is? I hear she bribed the purser to upgrade her rooms to first class. What a social climber. Isn't that Archie Gracie? Archie? My dear, I simply must run. Lovely chatting with you. Goodbye. There you are. Goodness, I do believe I'm talked out. Good night. As head of White Star, I say Bruce Ismay should get a medal. I was at his table this afternoon. The food exquisite, really. It's Mrs. Candy. Helen. Did you hear? J.P. Morgan, he owns the White Star Line. He was to be on board. At the last moment, he took the cure in France instead. Why do you suppose? Has the ship sprung a leak? I'll scare myself to death. Everyone knows the Titanic's unsinkable. Why, it's the Harrises. You know, the Broadway producer. My dear, I'm going to pay one more call to Master Clifford. My dear, what is it? Something horrendous. Spill it. Heavens, my mind's going, just going. What was I saying? My dear, I simply must run. Lovely chatting with you. Goodbye. But, my dear, what is it? You know I'll ferret out any secret you have. Excuse me, we're in the middle of the most delicious conversation. Yes. No. Correct. You're wrong. Pardon me. Carlson, good night. Yoo-hoo! Thank you. Good evening. I see you found the grand staircase. Lovely, isn't it? And of course you'll see absolutely everyone passing through here on their way to dinner. The Astors themselves just went down. The page is playing the roast beef of old England. That's the call to dinner. Perhaps we'll see you again later. Colonel John Jacob Astor is one of the world's wealthiest men, you know. I hear he's worth more than $107 million. They have one of the most expensive suites on board. Their tickets alone cost more than $4,000. Mrs. Astor, she was Miss Madeline Force of New York, is the Colonel's second wife. They've been married only since September, and they've been touring the continent since. I hear they're already expecting a child. I do hope the voyage isn't too difficult for poor Madeleine. She's only 19, can you imagine? Then there's Isidore Strauss. He's a partner in Macy's and Lord & Taylor in New York. Such lovely emporiums, don't you agree? He was born in Bavaria, but I hear he grew up in Georgia. I hear he even tried to join the Confederate Army. They wouldn't have him. Mrs. Strauss is along as well. Oh, that's Archie Butt. Major Archibald Willingham Butt, I should say. He's returning from a very important mission to the Pope in Rome, and he's carrying a message back to President Taft. But when he's off duty, Archie is such a gay blade. Have him tell you about being sent to the Pacific with a boatload of mules. He's just too amusing. Yoo-hoo! My dear, such excitement. I'm in a swivet. But, my dear, I must tell you, a Colonel Zeitel's been asking for you in the lounge. Know him? Drat these things. And my luggage, what about my luggage? For the lifeboats. Miss Russell brought her toy pig. Why can't I bring a steamer trunk? I really don't see why not. Yes, I must find my party. I can't get in a boat with immigrants, you understand. Have you seen the Astors? My dear, how did you ever miss them? In the gymnasium. J.J. was dissecting one of these wretched jackets to show his wife. Horrid. They go with nothing. Nothing. Couldn't be more tiresome. Though White did go with J.J.'s blue suit. But then he always cuts a figure. The Astor men. Such sharp dresses. Such prizes, as she figured out. Madeline, his child bride. Imagine, John Jacob Astor, a divorced man, marrying a 19-year-old. From Brooklyn, too. In one I do, she became like creme brulee, too rich to digest. Social disaster. They were cut, my dear, cut dead. So John took her abroad, to Egypt, where they and Mrs. Brown, that dreadful miner's wife, were thicker than thieves, of which Cairo is infested, I assure you. Did you see Benjamin Guggenheim? He and his valet, dressed to the nines, prepared to go down like gentlemen. We should all be back in bed. Bobbing about the Atlantic in a lifeboat, it's really too much. Did you see the Astors, Benji Guggenheim? The millionaire, you silly thing. He and his valet, dressed to the nines, prepared to go down like gentlemen. Such jokers. Why, John Jacob Astor, the millionaire, of course. My dear, how could you have missed them? They were in the gymnasium. Leaving? If you see the Astors, do tell them Daisy wants to go in their boat. It'll be such fun. Don't forget, their boat. I only travel with the best. Goodbye. The boats, I can't find them. Everyone's gone. The officer, he wanted to put me in a boat with people I didn't know. But it's not that bad, is it? We won't die. No, we won't. The boats, I must find the right one, the right boat. The boats, I must find the right one. I must. I can't go with just anyone. My dear, there's simply no time to talk. I must find my boat. I must. I can't just go with anyone. My dear, what is it? Something horrendous. Spill it.